children and adults with disabilities. And then the fifth school is juvenile hall. So we're a special sect of schools that is funded by Fresno County, actually.
That is a very unique situation. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. I believe, without further ado, we're going to have Ms. Julie Grohl share your fabulous video. Maybe. All right. God, I love those thumbs ups. Thank you, Christian, for joining my silent dance party.
Hold on, just bringing up the right screen of my many layered screens on my little laptop here to make sure I'm sharing the right thing. 1 second.
Julie Grohl normally has a whole professional setup when they're at home, but today she's in a hotel room, so we don't have that double monitor. We don't have that easy drag and drop. So I appreciate everyone's patience. You know, like I said earlier, 3 years into this and we're still playing with Zoom.
All right, you can all see that now, correct? All right, give me a thumbs up on the volume, okay? Let me know how it is, and we can go up or down. All right, here we go.
Hi everyone, I'm going to take you through a typical Tuesday at CTEC's Expanded Learning Program. You will start the afternoon off by taking advantage of our snack cart, and we do a digital check-in for our snack cart where we give a cracker or cookie of some sort. We have a variety of fruit. We have some sort of nut butter. We have cheese sticks sometimes. Goldfish are hands down the best snacks, but I'd say educational snacks are top tier as well. But anywho, what you'll see here is an external mouse and keyboard because each of my paras will use their laptop for the digital check-in system. But this is how I ensure that they don't get hot Cheeto fingers on their keyboards or trackpads. This is our study hall. You'll see on that sign there, it said impact logs here. And so study hall has been a room that our school has really relied on for students that are placed on our impact program, meaning they were identified as a student that received one or more failing grades for their last progress report. And so we work with the students, we have the logs available to them, and you'll see like my para here giving a student one-on-one support. Then we have boxing. So Kano Brothers, they used to have their own boxing gym. Now they do sponsor boxers, but basically we have this vendor that comes out and they teach students basic boxing skills. The coach that you'll see towards the left of the screen is a professional boxer. And so the students, when he'll have that red suit on and the students can punch him and such. But they start out slow. They don't spar against each other ever. But this is them practicing for their March graduation. And so the students that do graduate, they're able to keep their gloves, and they are also able to get a month's, like a gym membership, like a boxing gym membership for a month if they complete the program. So we are so pleased to have them. It's so cool to have the students get one-on-one experience with multiple coaches. Another really cool thing about this is like such a diverse amount of students or diverse type of students are bonding over this sport, which is really exciting. Here, this is one of my paras, Kaden. And what's nice about having a para in our innovation center is that when you break your desk, he can weld it for you. So we do have a para out there. This is another para in that same area of our campus. She started the Society of Women Engineers Club. And so it's an outreach club, it's an engineering club, and they were working on how to outreach to other engineering firms, and they're actually preparing to do a weekend trip where they read some science books and played around with a robot for their robotics team this weekend. So really cool stuff. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your site with us, Alexis. There is a question in the chat, which I'm sure, fine. Already beat me to it. So what is a para? A para educator, a para is the para educator assigned to expanded learning program to support students with a variety of clubs. So basically, if you're in like the Boys and Girls Club world, or it would be like your youth development professional or your frontline staff. Any other like obvious questions that we can answer that, you know, maybe everybody might have? No. Okay, so we will start with the prepared questions, and hopefully that'll spark some of your brains out there in the Zoom land to tickle your brains and get some good questions going. So Alexis, what are some of the challenges that you've seen in your students or families after coming back from the pandemic?
You know, an interesting one that I'm not sure many have touched on is just the lack of attentiveness. Just the inattentiveness has been a struggle. Just with the amount of technology use that was experienced over the pandemic, it's just kind of like that fast, you know, that just we live in that culture of immediacy. And so to slow down and to, yes, you do have to watch this video for your class. And, you know, as we're supporting them after school, or yes, you do need to read the instructions. Like, I'm not going to, you know, sit here and lay it out for you. Yes, it is going to take some time, right? I think that's as far as like academics are concerned after school, you know, supporting them with their homework and everything, that's definitely been a difficulty. Let's see, gosh, I'd say another concern is just attendance. I mean, we're not out of the waters just yet. And so, you know, we still are having students that are out because of COVID. And that can definitely, or staff out because of COVID. And so that can be an issue with a small program like ours. Oh goodness. As far as family concerns, we've had less, I think, community at our school. I don't see as many like family workshops, family events, you know. Everyone's trying to stick to Zoom because it's harder to cancel Zoom, and it is, you know, a convenience, but I think utilizing Zoom can kind of hinder the ability to really create that community on a campus.
Absolutely. As wonderful as being in Zoom land with all of you is, I know that the feel of the in-person symposium is definitely going to feel a little bit different. So Zoom is great, but it doesn't beat the in-person aspect. Alexis, could you share a few of the successes that you have had in supporting your students and families after coming back from the pandemic?
For sure. So I'd say the aim of this program, first of all, our mission and vision, and again, we just started this school year, so all we know is the program after the pandemic. And so the idea was, the vision for the program is be well, do well. And so that the students would perform well at school because, from a place of actually being well, right? Having that time to play a sport, having that time to connect with their friends over an activity, not just going all the time, because CTEC is an industry school. We have a construction and manufacturing pathway. And so it's about the grind, right? It's about once they're in industry, it's about making a profit, you know? It's not about, you know, kumbaya, let's hold everyone's hands, everyone in, you know, good standing with each other. And so ELP, we really wanted to provide those spaces for our students. And I think though we've been starting slowly but surely, those spaces are being created. And I think the students are enjoying their time with the activities that they are participating in. The hope is that we will be able to support our families a little bit better by bringing OK Produce on our site and giving produce boxes to our families, doing community events that we can help out with. Like we're going to have a community service day, and the hope is that the boxing team would be able to run some activities with the kids that end up attending that event. So we're new, we're small, but I think the students have really been able to build community, and the hope is that we'll be able to impact our surrounding community as well and our families.
That's so wonderful that you're creating those spaces, those safe spaces for kids to focus on their emotional well-being and not just their academic success. That's so awesome. That kind of leads me to our next question, which you already kind of addressed, but what is the importance of your program? What impact does it have?
Wow. I'd say
easy question, right?
Yeah, really keeping it real light. Let's just keep it real surface. Now, I'm going to point to boxing specifically just because there's one student in particular. He's a sophomore now, but I was able to see him last year, just really struggling, really wanting to fit in, taking on different personas, and just to see him connect finally, like have this sense of community. He wears a boxing shirt. He, you know, is wanting to practice with his teammates just before practice. And, you know, he's communicating with me like, did I turn in my enrollment form and things like that? I'm like, what is happening here? And so that has been a success. He's actually a relative of someone that works here. So you kind of would assume that this student would, you know, just blend right in and, you know, would feel secure because he's related to someone that works here and all those things. And that just wasn't the case. So to really see him thrive in that environment has definitely been a success. Just to see him have that community finally, you know, here at his school. Another success I'd say is the fact that I think this speaks more of the school than it does of our program, but every single one of our paras is our para educators, frontline staff. They are graduates of CTEC. And CTEC, you kind of have to know CTEC to be a part of CTEC. To be honest, I mean, we have the Innovation Center, we have the different pathways, we have so many different types of staff doing so many different things. It's a small school. You really have to know what staff does what in order to just kind of function here at this school. And so I think a big success is that as the students are going to our paraeducators during those study hall spaces, they know that they're talking to someone that has survived the 4 years of college and beyond, you know. It's staff that wants to be here. And so I think that's another big success.
I'm just agreeing with everything you said. What is something that you are looking, what is something your program or you is looking forward to between now and the end of the school year?
Between now and the end of the school year, I'd say just more opportunities to serve our community. Like I said, we're looking forward to a community service event called You Matter Day. Angelica, one of my paras, has done some outreach with her Society of Women Engineers Club. You saw that was the last picture in the video. So that's really cool. Our school is at half capacity. And so if you consider how important attendance is for just the normal school day and the functioning and the health and well-being of the school, then you can only imagine how that actually affects after school. Our pool becomes even smaller when the regular school day is at half capacity, our, the students that stay after school is even smaller. And so I'd say just the opportunity to connect with our community, recruit students for the school in the future. By, boxing club, again, volunteering at the community service event, or Society of Women Engineers, or just giving our students the opportunity to go out, but also giving the community an opportunity to be on our campus on a Saturday, and to serve them, like I said, with produce, or just so that they know that we're here, and that this would be some sort of a place for wellness. The hope is that for the spring festival, we would have like a kind of wellness hub. So whether it's, I don't know if you've heard of United Health Centers, or, just like the clinics that are around, they have like vans that provide different services and things like that. So having something like that there, and like I said, just being able to provide anything that we can for the community.
What an amazing resource your school is to your community, like being able to bring produce, and like the Society of Women Engineers. How cool is that? I want to know more about that. But I will not ask any more questions because my questions are over with. And now I'd like to open it up to all of the fabulous people in this Zoom land room. You can either raise your hand, you can jump off mic. Questions, comments, concerns.
Hello, Alexis.
So
Nice to meet you. Andres here. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for sharing, first of all. It's very, very awesome to see all the great work that you're doing with your program. One question that I do have is, what kind of challenges do you face when you are trying to work with with vendors and maintaining contracts, maintaining agreements, whether it's research, was it a struggle finding this group? Can you speak a little bit on that, please?
sure. So I will say I have a fantastic project specialist, and she's like my direct supervisor with ELP. And so if I am trying to get in contact with a vendor and she knows that, she has some information that I don't know, she's been really great. I say that she's a wind beneath my wings. She's been fantastic at just kind of giving me that heads up, that background knowledge that, this other high school has tried this vendor in the past, they weren't able to get great enrollment. So one, she's been a fantastic resource. The other thing is our region, or our Fresno County updates their vendor list. So any vendor that we would see that we would have access to is only a vendor that we can actually establish a contract with. The third thing that was helpful, and the reason that I even got connected with boxing, is because in the summer, they Fresno County put on a training, and during our lunch, they had like 20 booths of vendors. So we were able to make those in-person contacts, see what they were about, see the materials that they would bring. And so that is what kind of kept it going. My boxing vendor has been just fantastic in keeping in touch with me, giving me updates, us going back and forth with getting quotes and things. Honestly, I wear quite a few hats here at CTEC. And so if my vendor isn't as communicative as my boxing vendor has been, it probably won't happen, just because I really need it to be a two-way street. I will say that we have had to hire on teachers to do some of the clubs that we want to do, and some of the clubs that were requested by students. And so that really affected our budget. And so I think that's my biggest concern right now. Like we are in February and I cannot establish another contract right now because of some retro pay that had to happen and teachers being at a different rate. So I'd say those are the complications, more so than any complications that I've had with a vendor. Again, new site lead. One issue that I did have was there's a drone certification program. and they were $16,000. And so that was already like, okay, I'm really gonna have to evaluate that. So one was cost. Another one was, it was really difficult, or I didn't really hear back from them. And then once I did, it was like, okay, we can be there next week. And then it was like, no, we have budget issues. Like, I actually can't establish a contract right now. And so I will say that that's been one issue that I faced. But I'd say the vendors that I've reached out with so far, I think it's been cost, communication. Another one is a vendor will ask or act really quickly on something that I'm ordering, but the PO hasn't opened yet. Like, they got the quote and like they have everything going, and I'm like, I can't pay you just yet. So I think as a site lead, as a first year site lead, you're just trying to make as many moves as you can and trying to get things going. And like I said, you're building a plane as you're flying it. So I've had like a really good experience with a vendor, like a what on earth is happening with a vendor, and like, I can't pay you vendor. So a vendor issue. So yeah, I was like, I don't think I've had that much experience. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's been all over the place. So thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Christian, I knew I could count on you to ask a good question here.
I always have a question. I was just really excited when you mentioned that all of your frontline staff are graduates from. That's just so cool and must be so incredibly powerful for your students. How did that kind of process transpire? Is that something you had intention around when you were building the program, or?
Yes, thank you for this question. You know, it was the dream. It was the dream. And like I said, many people want to work at this school or see it, and they're like, wow, how do I get my foot in the door there? But really, again, you really have to know CTEC in order to work here. And so that was the intention from the start. It's like, man, like, who would my dream team be? And so the counselor gave me contact information for the graduating seniors. And I was able to call them over the summer, share some information about the program, the fact that we were starting it, what it was going to be about, what the vision was, but was very clear about, actually, I'm not sure that I shared the vision over the email, but eventually, as I was bringing them on, sharing the vision with them, that initial email over the summer to those seniors was very much like, hey, we have funding for the after school program. I understand that working with high schoolers is not for everybody. So if that doesn't sound great to you, I mean, like, was like on my voicemails and on my emails to them was like, absolutely no hard feelings. Like, I want people that want to be here ultimately. So that was the hope. That is what ended up happening. When I tell you that we've just hired our last 2 pairs in the last couple months, so it was myself and Diego, my para, for quite a bit of time as we were starting program. So I've earned every gray hair that I have. But it was, so that was the dream. I reached out to them because the counselor shared their contact information. That was absolutely, again, because CTEC has to know CTEC. That was the director's hope too, is that they would be graduates, and that's how it happened. So we are so blessed. We are so fortunate. It's not even funny.
That's just so cool. I love that.
Thank you for your question.
Jake, I see your hand raised. Let's hear
Yes.
your question.
Yeah. So obviously working with high schoolers, how do you get them? Because I'm with middle school, and I find it hard to just get them excited about a lot of different clubs and activities. Some of them they are, but I find it challenging at other times. So I'm wondering, with high school, how are you able to get them excited about a lot of the different clubs that might seem like it might be for younger people, even though it's not?
Wow. So one thing that I learned is, gosh, if I don't have student input, it's just not going to work. My strategy was, hey team, tell me what you're interested in, because I know if my team is bought in, then they will sell it to the students, But I'm learning that it really has to start with that student input. I think just getting the students excited to share their opinion is another hill to overcome. I did a lunch activity where I was literally a DJ and had the lights off, had disco balls on the screens, and they could like write their ideas down on a whiteboard. You can actually see it right here. There's
Oh,
like
yeah.
an idea section of the whiteboard. And so this literally looked like a nightclub. and they
That's what
came
it
through
takes,
here.
right?
It really does. So I mean, I had music blasting in here, and no one was coming, of all things. Like, you'd think that, okay, finally, yes, this is a great idea to get student ideas. And it took my principal taking the candy, of course you have to have food, taking the candy in the room that I had, and he had handfuls of candy, and he was walking around like, hey, if you want this, and of course the students swarm him, if you want this, you have to go in room 303. And so I'd say we're still struggling to figure out what it is that they want to commit to. That boxing club should be at 20. It's not at 20. Another struggle that we have here is because of our grant, we can't claim anything that's already been established for a year. And the two biggest clubs on campus are welding and robotics, and those had been established for years. And so now
Right.
that takes the pool of the students that we can have in the after school program that is already small. Another struggle, just to say this, another struggle that we have is being a county school, we are open to the entire county. It's not like, hey, these are your district lines, these are your boundary lines for your school, and everyone that's close gets to come to CTEC. It's, if you are in Fresno County, you can attend this school. And so why does that make it difficult? Well, our students aren't walking distance. Our students can't walk home at 6. Our students are coming from a half an hour away, 25 minutes away, driving, right? And so, sorry, to go back to your question though, just that student voice, just trying to figure out those creative ways to see what works. Our biggest clubs have been sports that I wasn't even, they weren't even on my mind to create, to have. So volleyball and basketball were our two sports, but again, we're a charter. So usually schools already have those sports, but because we're a charter and we're not, yes, those can be under ELP. But I'll be honest and say that it's a struggle. It's a struggle to find out what it is that they want. I wonder though, if you had, do you have a good, maybe like 10 students that are pretty consistent, like you can count on their parents?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I wonder if like you could, even if they are a little rusty on their leadership skills, having them be your leadership team because you know that they're so committed, and then getting opinions from them, because you know that they're going to stay the full time, you know that they're committed to it, and seeing what it is that they want, and then they will be your recruiters. We just, Crystal, Joe, and CJ and I are on a team, and that was an idea that one of our fellows had, one of our colleagues had. They're like, when the students are bought in, they will recruit for you. And that is like, that blew my mind. And so just taking those committed students, kind of boosting their ego a little bit. Hey, be on my student leadership committee, and then going from there and seeing like, hey, what is it? Is it an anime club? Is it a
we've
gym?
had some success with chess. That's been one. But again, it's only like maybe 10 out of 80 of our students. So it's like, we're trying to get like a classroom filled, so.
100%. And I think it goes back to like the pandemic thing too. It's like that immediacy that like, no, I just want the video game. No, I just want this, that, and the other. And it's just like, I'm committed to having, and you might be the same, like I love that they're doing chess. I'm committed to having clubs that don't require a screen necessarily.
Absolutely.
Just to, help their
interaction.
Eyes a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My pleasure.
Andrea or John, are you available?
If I can ask another question, what is, or do you have any challenges with training or quality control? Do you have a hub or a center where you have digital, resources such as videos for trainings, or do you have, any kind of, worksheets that any sort of professional development? What do you guys do in that realm?
So for professional development, we try to do bi-weekly meetings. A challenge with that is not every single member of my staff is on site. How do I word this? I don't have all of my staff members on site on any given day. At least one is going to be missing. And so that's been a struggle, but we try to do bi-weekly meetings. The biggest chunk, and I try to share this with them before I even go to that section, but I tell them that the biggest chunk is about questions, comments, and concerns. And so, and I tell them to, I want to hear, I'd rather hear it from you than hear it through the grapevine. And so they know that they have that space to really share their challenges and concerns. Really though, it is on the fly. I had this issue with the student. They might be telling their parent this or that, what do I do? Or the student's being rowdy, or the student's being distracting. It's pretty much like, training as it happens, and then that gets added to the agenda for the next meeting so that we can all go over it as a team. Like, kind of what's that protocol? Anytime a protocol has been established, I put it in a general information document. And so, it has, this isn't necessarily professional development, but it has like the hierarchy of our bosses. We have like 11 bosses. So, and they can come on campus at any given time. And so we have like a general information document. Anytime that there's a protocol, it's typed up and added to an ELP folder. And so that's kind of what we've been doing. Our training, our PD is kind of within those bi-weekly meetings. And then our county does Saturday trainings for 3 hours. And then they also have a lot of optional trainings that they can go to. So there are trainings that they know are mandatory. And then they just opened up a bunch of trainings that they can go to if, they feel inclined, like, oh yeah, I want to go to this one on classroom management. And they know that they'll be paid for that. And everything like that. So PD is definitely something that I would like to grow in. I'm really wanting to get everyone the Gallup strengths test. I really want us to be able to see that in each other and see, okay, now that we have this information, how can everyone operate in their strengths? So that's, in a perfect world, we would have all had our Gallup strengths test. I would have all of my staff here on one day. And, I would just have more resources for them. I know that I don't like training with a video. And so I like to do one-on-one training as I'm sorry, not one-on-one, but in person, just kind of collaborating with one another. But yeah, I think PD is definitely something that I'd like to grow in. I'd also like for them to get cognitive coaching or coaching on cognitive coaching, where when you're speaking to people, you're speaking with the assumption that something was already done, and it allows the conversations to not be so defensive. Like, instead of asking my para, did this get done? It's a how did this go? Like, so it assumes that they're already engaging with what I asked them to do. So yes, I'm thankful for that question, because it's definitely something that I want to get better at. But I think right now it's just a lot of, okay, where's the binder for this? Okay, I need to put this information here. Give me your parents' information if an emergency happens, or what's the fire drill protocol? Okay, where are we going to store all this? Like, it's very much like just getting organized and getting the basics, and making sure that everyone knows where they're supposed to go. And did someone grab the snack today? And, you know, all this stuff. It's just a lot of just, because we're building the plane as we're flying it, there's not a lot of time to fine tune, in my opinion. And so yeah, PD is the dream, but and I do have ideas. It's just having the time to create that content.
If I can say, I commend you for having the you know, the entire approach of, or focusing on the entirety of it in terms of looking at it from the perspective of you know, modeling, you know, doing that group think, you know, sharing your ideas on the situation with everyone involved, and it being a group session. I think it, you know, speaks volumes, and the fact that you follow up, you know, I think with that approach alone, you can't go wrong. So really, you know, great job, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Alexis, I had no idea that you were a first year site lead. Holy wow. You were doing amazing things. Look at the structure and foundation that you are laying down for your school, for your program, your kids, your paraeducators who all graduated. Like, man, you guys are doing some amazing work. And I am so grateful that you were able to take time today to share with us and show us a little bit of high school life on a charter school that's run by a county. I don't think any of us in this room can say that we are part of that. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us. I believe that is our time for today, as it is 4 o'clock. But if you have any questions or comments about anything at all, I will put my email in the chat. So if there's anything you need from us, from the symposium planning team, from the site visits team, you can go ahead and email me, and I will do my absolute best to get you whatever resource it is that you would want. And Alexis has also put her her email in the chat. She didn't put the chat in the email, but thank you all so very much for being here. Thank you for spending your afternoon doing site visits with us. And hopefully I will see all of you at game night tonight. And that is it.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you, everybody.
afternoon.
Have a wonderful afternoon.